Good afternoon, everyone who have gathered here live today for this long-awaited physical conference, and to everyone who also joined to watch it online. I'm Rugilė Stonytė, Senior Investment Advisor at Invest Lithuania. For those of you who haven't heard of this agency, I will give a short introduction. So Invest Lithuania is official government agency for foreign direct investment and business development. Among many sectors that we work with is also Fintech. So we help international investors to discover opportunities in Lithuania and support them to settle their business in Lithuania and off to the best start possible so that they could enjoy the benefits of investment-friendly environment in Lithuania, multifunctional talent pool, and also favorable regulatory environment. So normally I am more used to talk about how Lithuania can help fintechs grow and scale, what our talent pool, our infrastructure can offer them, and what services and innovation opportunities Bank of Lithuania can provide to them. However, today I will look at this topic from the opposite angle, and we'll talk about how international fintechs and local fintech startups are accelerating growth in Lithuania, and how they're helping to improve our investment environment even further. So today, Lithuania is home to more than 230 fintech companies. And with some dedication and time, I am sure I would be able to come up with a similar amount of benefits that fintech sector provides to Lithuania. However, conscious of a time given and of your patience, I try to summarize these into the 5 main points. So today I will talk about how this sector provides benefits to consumers and SMEs by introducing wider range of services and products, what economic value it creates in Lithuania, how it also helps to build competences and know-how not only for the talent pool but for the governmental institutions, how it accelerated the development of the services provided by the governmental institutions, and finally, how it helps to improve the popularity of Lithuania globally and what a multiplicator it had not only on the growth of the fintech hub in Lithuania, but on the other sectors as well. So this point is probably the most obvious one. So fintechs are challenging incumbents in many very different ways, and this provides great and very tangible benefits to the final consumers and to the SMEs. So thanks to this industry or sector, many of us today have at least one app in our smartphones that help us to very easily send money to our friends or also pay in the stores. And even more people nowadays discover opportunities of seamlessly investing in global stock markets. Many explore options that various P2P platforms can provide, and all very conveniently from home, and very often with lower transaction costs that many of the incumbents could offer. So final consumers have a wider options of products available to them, and also more accessible financial services. So also with the seamless user experience, remote customer onboarding, and very engaging and very easy to understand app interfaces, these fintechs slowly, little by little, are changing consumer behavior and bringing the management of our finances to our daily lives and to a wider consumer base. Another important, of course, and very obvious segment that fintech benefits is small and medium enterprises. So first of all, by providing wider range of products, wider range of opportunities, and cheaper financing options, fintechs support small and medium enterprises. And this was especially very noticeable in the pandemic when these players helped to deploy governmental support to small businesses by distributing loans at a more favorable rates than normally. And also various point of sales operators, various online transaction processors are as well reducing the cost of doing business for small merchants, both physically and in the e-commerce space. And right now in Lithuania, most of the fintechs are representing payments and remittance or lending industries. However, with the upcoming changes in EU-wide regulation, we have noticed a small but accelerating influx of equity crowdfunding companies, of wealth tech companies, and also we hope that the sector that is still not explored in Lithuania, InsurTech, will also start to boost. So hopefully, and most likely in few years, we'll see even more products offered to the Lithuanian ecosystem. So this point is probably one of the most important ones because it offers some metrics to measure this benefit, which is economic value created by fintechs in Lithuania. So in addition to counting how many fintech companies are established in Lithuania every year, at Invest Lithuania, we also calculate how many job places these fintech companies create in Lithuania. And I'm very glad to see that the growth in the number of job places has surpassed the growth in the number of fintech companies established in Lithuania. So that means that the average fintech company in Lithuania is increasingly hiring more employees. So without a doubt, of course, there are many, several players, larger players, who are rapidly scaling their operations in Lithuania and probably are pushing this average up. And there are a lot of startups that only employ several specialists in Lithuania. However, it is important to note that many of these startups as well are outsourcing many of their operations to local providers, and in this way, indirectly also creating job places in Lithuania, which if included into these numbers would only push them higher. Also, in 2020, the average gross salary paid by fintech in Lithuania amounted to 2,800 euros, almost more than double than Lithuania's average salary, which resulted in this quite a big rise in total taxes related with employment paid in Lithuania. Another important factor to note here is the investments done through R&D projects and shared value investments. So increasing number of fintechs in Lithuania are developing their core products here. And so that means that they're not only recruiting our top engineers for their R&D activities, but that also means expenditure in contractual research, in supplies and materials. And also, many fintech companies are investing in shared value investments, which is subsidizing tuition fees for talented students, or buying software for universities, or even extending the cooperation and sharing their knowledge at the universities, all to advance the economic and social well-being of our community. And the final important point is that fintechs also create value in Lithuania indirectly. Probably many of you have noticed an influx of independent fintechs consultants or legal firms increasing their departments for licensing and compliance, or other companies that are providing IT services to, tailored to fintech companies. So fintech industry also helps to build competences in Lithuania. So local fintech startups, but especially international fintech companies that are coming to Lithuania, are providing great job opportunities for our local talent pool. Lithuania's IT development and engineering capabilities are well recognized globally, and fintech investors are continuing to increasingly rely on our developers to work on their R&D projects, to develop core products, and also work on their key operations. But fintechs that decide to establish their key hubs in Lithuania create even better opportunities for the specialists in business development, in risk management, finance, and operations. With the arrival of these companies, many professionals are able to accelerate their careers in Lithuania and take challenging jobs without a need to relocate or move to other more traditional hubs like London, because they're able to find the challenge at home here in Lithuania. And this influx of high value added jobs even encourages some of our expats to come back to Lithuania, and even international talents to discover opportunities here. It is also worth mentioning AML compliance segment here separately. So many of the incumbents in Lithuania, and as well as other companies like NASDAQ and Western Union, are hiring large numbers of these specialists in Lithuania. So thanks to them, young professionals get very good training and awareness of the industry early in the days, and later can progress to more senior roles either within their companies or at the fintechs. And this is a great dynamic between these sectors that helped Lithuania to grow an impressive amount of competitive compliance officers that later go and help international fintechs to devise their ML policies and frameworks. Universities are also reacting to the demand in the market and offering tailored programs and courses for students to equip them with the necessary knowledge to start their careers in the fintech sector. And also, having established a fintech-friendly environment, Lithuania became attractive not only to international fintechs, but also created a very fertile land for local entrepreneurs to start their businesses in this sector in Lithuania. So more than half of fintechs in Lithuania are owned by local entrepreneurs. And they're also increasingly being helped by various hackathons and various accelerators that help them to scale their businesses and export abroad. And actually, fintech startups is probably the largest segment of the overall startup ecosystem in Lithuania. And finally, and not least, having this dynamic jurisdiction, our regulator, Bank of Lithuania, is also growing its muscles. So Bank of Lithuania probably is one of the few regulators in the European Union that can boast about having evaluated, having licensed, and having supervised important global brands with difficult structures and business models like Google Pay, like Square, Flywire, Revolut, and others. And Bank of Lithuania already is recognized by the global banking community, by the World Bank, by the ECB, and now they continue sharing their knowledge and their best practices with other regulators globally. Fintech accelerated also the development of public services. So I'm very proud that interinstitutional cooperation in devising and implementing fintech strategy in Lithuania was recognized not only globally, but also EU-wide. So although it was a very difficult challenge and ambition to create a major fintech hub in Lithuania, and especially when Lithuania never was one of the major financial centers globally, this goal was achieved. So by evaluating Lithuania's advantages, drawbacks, and also identifying areas for improvement, various institutions managed to mobilize their resources and do their part of the tasks. The result of which is that Lithuania now is recognized as fourth most attractive fintech hub globally. And of course, fintech being a very digital sector in its nature also helped governmental institutions to accelerate their digitalization processes. And this happened even long before pandemic started. So there were noticed several weak points that precluded international investors from smoothly starting their operations in Lithuania, and many of them were fixed. And there are various ongoing surveys that help to gather the feedback from the private sector and identify which areas should be fixed and where we need to work in. And overall, I think that definitely helped various governmental institutions to very quickly improve, and as a result, in the pandemic, provide very key services very seamlessly. So, besides having a bunch of amazing basketball players, a strange pink cold soup, and being the first country that broke away from Soviet Union, unfortunately, we haven't had that many revelations that made Lithuania very famous overseas. And fintech helped to put Lithuania's name on the map. And for many people that haven't heard of our country before. Over the last 4 to 5 years, Lithuania has been making headlines in the world's top magazines and media, all talking and writing about how this little country managed to seize this opportunity and create this large and dynamic fintech hub. And the surprising thing is that the story seems to never get old, because up to this date, we continue getting a lot of inquiries from international journalists at Invest Lithuania, all wanting to know more about our fintech hub, how did we do it, and how maybe other countries could replicate it. So, of course, also this popularity gives a great effect and helps us to attract even more fintechs, because Lithuania now is a top-of-the-mind location in the EU, along with Netherlands, along with Ireland. And of course, this momentum could be used as well to benefit other sectors if used properly and in time. So the increasing popularity of Lithuania's fintech hub has also attracted attention of international investors and various corporations. So Lithuania has a lot of startups that have great products developed locally, some amazing service offerings that could be scaled internationally, but just they need some support. And just last year, Lithuania's Ondato have raised financing from Startup Wise Guys and some other international investors. The beginning of this year, startup Kevin also raised a seed round run mainly by international investors. Just a month ago, San Francisco-based VC fund, Launchpad Capital, announced that they're deploying resources in Lithuania to invest in Baltic fintech startups. And we also noticed a lot of amazing partnerships that our local fintech startups were creating with international ones, and even being acquired by them. So a great example is Paysolute, who was recently acquired by UK's famous scale-up SumUp. And not only that, also fintech companies that are licensed in Lithuania and are operating here, they help to bring even greater brands to Lithuania. So for example, Versus acquisition by Square, or ongoing acquisition of Simplex by Nuvei. So I really hope that this is only the beginning of the global attention, global investor attention to Lithuania, and that in the future we will have even greater opportunities for local entrepreneurs to scale their business globally. So although Lithuania is the one that is helping fintechs to grow and scale with our engineering talent, with our fintech-friendly ecosystem, with our innovative and progressive regulator, it is a two-way street, and Lithuania is definitely benefiting from this growth of the fintech ecosystem. And I really hope that this dynamic will remain, and both fintechs and Lithuania will continue cooperating in this nice way. So thank you so much for your attention. If you would like to have the latest updates about Lithuania's fintech hub, please subscribe to our newsletter. Or if you have some questions how Lithuania could help your fintech, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rugilė. Thank you very much.